Alright, let's get this started. Welcome to the first of hopefully at least a few Q&A streams to get some people started and prepared for the upcoming any percent NMG tournament. So I would like this stream to primarily be driven by everyone's questions out there. So I have some stuff to talk about. You know, if there aren't a lot of questions, or you know, if people really just want to see some general stuff, that's totally cool. But hopefully you guys will be the primary drivers of this, and hopefully we can get any questions you may have answered. In order to facilitate that, I'll have a few people joining me for the stream, in voice and hopefully in chat as well. So right now with me, it looks like we've got Scrivo. What's up, Scrivo? How's it going, man? Hopefully he's there.
I am. I'm on push to talk.
Okay, cool. I think Deebs is going to be around as well. The illustrious Dude Brosick, the man of 1,000 voices. Possibly Emma, maybe even an appearance from the Josh RTA. But yeah, with all that said, if anyone has any questions at all, throw them out there at any time. No question is too beginnery or noobish. You know, don't be afraid to ask whatever you want to know about, and we will do our best to answer it. So, turn the music down just a little bit. Alright, well, something I can talk about real quick, if nobody's got anything just yet, is something that I see happen occasionally, and I don't believe this has really been covered in this video that I'm about to link, which is that right there. That's a video that Ninny's put together, which shows a lot of safeties and backups and everything. So there's a lot of really good information in there. I'd highly recommend giving that a look. But one thing I didn't necessarily see is what to do in the scenario where you end up actually dying to blind. And so let's just go through that scenario. Oh, as soon as I can actually get Link on the right layer. Yo, Ozzy. Hope that's a good, reasonable way of saying your name. Yeah, I would say Scrivo answered that pretty well. Definitely, anyone can contribute to it. It's a beautiful thing about a wiki. I myself would love to contribute more to it if I were actually better at the game and were able to put together some more videos and stuff for room strats. But yeah, we can always use write-ups for pretty much anything. There's just so much to cover about this game that it's kind of impossible to really have it all done. At any point. It's pretty much going to be a constantly evolving thing. So. Alright, so let's say something goes wrong during the blind fight. You just get really like off script and go wrong, get hit a few times. Crap. What am I gonna do now? Got one heart. Okay. It's hard to actually die on purpose. You wouldn't think it would be that difficult, but Alright, so you're gonna notice that you're starting with 5 hearts. The fight is gonna be a lot easier if we started with Sword Beam, so there are actually 3 pots that you can pick up along the way that will get you to full.
Sandcart.
Oh yeah. I guess without Sandcart, which the practice hack defaults to, you only need to grab 2. But if I change my maximum HP to 8, This is the first heart pot that you can pick up along the way. And that actually just refilled my HP. Just pretend that I'm actually at 5 hearts right now. So this is number 1. So you're gonna dash off there, come through here, go to the top of this part because you're gonna end up going north after that. Normally if you were just going through here, you'd be going low. So remember that you need to actually come up here instead when you transition. Second pot is going to be over here at the top right of this room, and then you're going to go back through where you open the door with the big key, and you're going to be in this hallway, and then the very last heart pot is right here outside of the line. Those are the 3 that you should grab if you end up dying to blind. And then the fight after that becomes a lot easier. It's almost scripted in its own fashion. I'm definitely not very good with dead script, but it's a lot easier to deal with, for sure, than walking in here without sword beams. So my strategy is just kind of stay on the bottom here. Just kind of move around and dodging the fireballs. I feel like it's a lot easier to just dodge everything down without moving up and down in the room. And occasionally you'll get hit, and maybe you'll need to like dash up to the top of the room or something. But that's a much easier refight for sure. Make sure you grab those pots.
Also, if remembering the position of those 3 pots is troublesome, I believe the first room of thieves has a bunny beam in the top left for the powder grabbers.
Yes, that's a very good call as well. Let me actually go to that. Let's do the entrance.
We should probably put that on the list, showing all the powder spots.
Yeah, that's a good call. So if you do have powder, well, I won't give myself powder, but just let's pretend you have it. You go to the top left of this room. Yeah, the bunny beam's right here, so you can just powder this, grab full hearts. I guess you would come over here and go this way. Yeah, those the website that those were on was taken down, so I grabbed those and uploaded them to an album. So that's that last link there. Yeah, there are so many anti-fairies and bunny beams in this dungeon. Close the program. Oh, yeah. Just go through thieves and find all the bunny beams.
I know about the jail cell. Is there a third one?
I want to say there's another one somewhere. So top left of this room, I know. I guess the trick is finding ones that are actually along the way, right? I don't think there are any. The compass.
Oh, the other ones are that you're thinking of, I believe, are the ones that are hiding under the bridge, like that one that just chased you. I think there's only 2 under pots.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's one right there, but getting there quick enough to powder him.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. However, in here, this one probably everyone knows, but it's under the spot. That's a good one to grab if you need it. Alright. That was one of the major CPUs I went dying to blind.
Probably the other place that a lot of people are going to die is Vitreous, and I've seen a lot of people stumble their way back to him. So
Let's just do a lot of the boss deaths, shall we?
Vitreous, Kholdstare, especially the swamp backup.
Alright. This is the wrong stream for that level of question, Blunt. I'm sorry. But I think the answer is keep working on the theory tests. Please and thank you. Alright, so let me go back up. So you've died to Vitreous, and now you've got to do Mire 2 again, and you don't have sword beams. Crap, what do? Use the fire rod just like you would use your sword beams. Yellow, thanks, Blunt. Ignore the camera. So pretty much just anywhere you would... Is the camera being wrong, like actually screwing this room up? Yeah, will do, man. Thanks.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
I usually slash the ghost on the left first. I slash fire rod.
Yeah,
Slash.
that's good. I should do that. Thanks, Deebs.
Yeah, no problem.
So yeah.
Yeah, slash fire rod or slash fire rod slash works too, and then you can just clean up the popos.
Yeah, this is just the way I've always done it for some silly reason. But I think the camera being incorrect is maybe screwing the spawns up or something.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Or I'm just bad.
'Cause it
That's
was-
entirely possible as well. That'll be $20. Yo, Scudge, what's up? What's your question, sir? I can't imagine you having any questions that you don't actually know the answer to already, but...
This is gonna be good, I'm sure.
Alright. Oh, wow, that's such a great question. Let me finish explaining the path back through Mire after you die to Vitreous, and I will totally answer that question. So, okay, so we've done Mire 2 now, without our sword beams, using the fire rod.
Oh, now we got questions. I'll make a note of that. If the chat goes up quickly.
Alright, so what you want to do is you want to go to the top left of this main room here. Best, fastest path. I think the other path is actually pretty similar in time. Like, they're actually reasonably close to each other. But you don't have to worry about hitting the crystal switch once you get down to the room where you would normally use a cane block to hit the crystal switch. Right now, I have enough magic for another cane block when I get down to the basement, but in case you don't, there's a pot over here that has a full magic. You can always grab that. East side is faster and you get a harder too. Now the real knowledge is coming out. Right. Ignore the quality of that room, please. Merely showing the route. So yeah, you don't have to worry about hitting the crystal switch in this room, so you can actually just go down here, dash. You don't actually need to bomb this wall open again, so there's no point in changing bombs. But you do have to come up here and hit this switch again, obviously, to get through. East side does have a bunny beam, I'm pretty sure. It's also a good point. But this route does as well, because you end up going through that room that has the big key door. So, probably should have pointed that out, actually. What's the easiest way to get to that? Spark game. Bunny. Alright, so the pegs would be down here, but just ignore it. So yeah, in this room right here, there are a few bunny beams. I'm sure they're both. I think they're both in the bottom pots. Yeah, there are 2 in here. That's if you take the west side route. I guess there's another one on the east side. So yeah, that is the route back through Mire if you'd had a Vittress. Yeah, I appreciate that, Scudge, for getting the ball rolling here. For Hellway, this is something that is pretty common that you do see. A lot of people end up just a few pixels off of the God Pixel, like, oh man, this strat is so hard, why can't I get this? This must be why they call it the God Pixel. It's really not that hard. All you have to do is just not move out of the doorway when you start your dash. And as long as you stop on the right frame, you're going to be aligned in the middle. Just because of the way of Link's movement works. Starting from the door...
Nice dude.
Starting from the door, since you're moving at 4 pixels per frame, one of the frames that you stop on just so happens to be that God Pixel. So you find that you're just a few pixels off each time. Just make sure you're not moving out of this door before you start your dash. Yeah, I couldn't do it the second time. The first pause was great though.
Scudge asked if there was a way to lining it up if you're off. So I think what he's referring to is you can actually hit yourself against the spikes, and then during your iframes you can push Link against them, so then you can line up for the rest of the room.
Are you talking about like hitting off him from the side?
Yeah, right. So if you get up to that point, you can hit off of one of the spikes and then use the iframes to adjust. If you are trying, like if the enemies are out of your way and you just want to line up with the middle of the room again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
There you go. You kind of almost did it. You just have to use the iframes to nudge up against the...
Oh, up against like the spike itself, basically?
Up against the spike, kind of like how you do in Ice Palace.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. I've never actually tried that very much.
Yeah. You have to bounce off the spike a certain way, but...
Oh, you can bonk into the spike too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, the bonk, that's the other strat, bonking into it. But now. So yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah,
if you don't want to go, or if you're done going over this, if you have anything more to say, you can, but there was another question that I made note of.
Oh, looks like we have another one. Yeah, that was the next death I was actually going to cover.
Okay, so the next question was how to do Hera Beetle Room the fast way.
The fast way?
Yeah.
I think this Ice Palace question will be more useful at this current juncture in time.
Sure.
And then we can get to Hera Beetle Room. But yeah, let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, like, the hard way, I mean, the optimal way of doing the Beetle Room is actually somewhat difficult to do consistently. So, I would honestly just kind of stick with a strat that's going to be consistent for you, which is probably going to be, you know, like ACM strat you can look at for that. But yeah, we can hit that later if we run out of shit to talk about. Alright, so let's say, yes, you've died to Kholdstare. You do have a few options. There is the option of going to Swamp, doing that in its entirety, and then coming back to Ice Palace. That's totally legitimate, and it gives you an extra heart for Ice, and you'll be full on magic, so you don't have to worry about it. So, totally legitimate way of going about it. Your other option, though, you end up dying to Kholdstare, and it's after you've used all of your Fire Rod shots. Your other option is to farm these guys outside in the light world. So Mire can pick up this rock, kill this guy, and see if you get a magic drop. Yo, DMD, thanks for the host, dude. You can see if you get a drop. You may get a small magic all you need is just a small magic to actually progress through the dungeon. So as soon as you've seen that you've actually gotten a small magic, you can re-enter Ice Palace, and then kill the first Freezor there to actually progress through.
And if you're nervous about using that one small magic to kill the Freezor, there's a slightly slower variation.
That's actually a really good one to show. I'm pretty sure what you do is you just go like this, right, to the top left of the room.
Just up left until you're aligned with the top of the statue and fire right.
That's really good, for sure, because it's definitely easy to miss this. Especially if you're trying to go fast. Yeah,
and if you only have the one small magic lying.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say you do only have that one small magic, and now you've killed that Freezor and you can progress through, but now you have empty magic. So what are the good spots to actually farm for magic? Well, this room isn't really one of them. Yeah, that's a good place to use that pause buffer for sure. I think a lot of people, if you're going if you're going naturally into the dungeon, I think a lot of people use that buffer to Fire Rod on the tiny warp screen coming out of Zora's. But if you don't use it there, that's totally a really, really good place for it as well. So I think, in my opinion, this Penguin's room down here, which I think has the compass or something, or the map maybe, is one of the better places to farm for magic, because they have a lot of magic drops in their prize pack. And it's actually really easy to kill 4 of them just by releasing a spin like that. And I think you can charge up another one, if you bait them well enough, you can kill them both in another spin. So that's another good way to try to farm for some magic. And I think it's easier than farming this room over here. But you can definitely farm these guys too. But there are tons of penguins, and you can always kill them for drops. Okay. Miss anything yet? GTower stuff we'll probably get to. I'm a big fan of showing safe and easy strats in GTower that are really good. Let's talk about Beetles, I guess. I don't know if I'm actually very good at the ACM strat, so I might have to have Scrivo. I'm pretty sure what you do. Something like this. That's really not too slow at all. Man, I never practiced this strat, so I don't... I know there's variation on the RNG of Beetles, obviously, but it's pretty subtle. But nothing you can't get used to. So yeah, that's a safe version of it. Obviously the harder version is somewhat like that, except actually hitting the switch. The thing with this strat is that you do have to watch out for the Beetle RNG of the middle one here, because he can walk slow or he can walk fast, and so you have to kind of slightly adjust your movement based on what he's doing. So there's slight RNG to deal with either way, but you're really not losing a ton of time by doing a safer version of it. So it's kind of up to you to decide like where you want to invest your time. You know, potentially gaining like maybe a second here on average, as opposed to working on a different strat somewhere else. Ice Armos. And a backup if you don't have enough arrows. Interesting.
Well, there's always enough arrows. So before Ice Armos, naturally you pick up the 1 pot to get 5. So even if you enter Ganon's top, if you get there with 0, you pick up the 1 pot, you get 5. And then in the room with the bombable floor, the top right pot has 5 arrows to take you to 10. And then there's a 10 arrow chest in that room to get you to 20. So a backup for going in with not enough is pray.
Yeah, it's hard to explain something like that because I mean, obviously that's something that shouldn't happen, but we've definitely all done it. You know, we've all fallen in with 17.
Well, I feel like the best answer to that question is just knowing the arrow backups on the way there, because there's enough
true.
so that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, so I was just gonna find those.
And it's probably a lot faster to pick those up than try to figure out some strat of killing them without enough arrows.
Yeah, but
also,
if...
yeah, I was just gonna make sure you didn't just pass up that portal.
Yeah. So this is one of the spots you can go. Like normally we would just bonk over this, but if you actually do go into this warp, there are these 5 arrows. Then I'll show I'll show the other one. So there's this 5 arrow pot that you always grab anyway. And in this room, that should reset. Yeah. So if you do want to grab everything, I think the best strat is, I think you do plant early. No, you pick.
Isn't it just plant early and then get the pot and then dash down?
Yeah, if you only need those 5, you still just basically do the same strat as you would normally do. But if you do need the arrow chest, you want to plant the bomb late. And I have not practiced this strat in a long time. Do that. Don't get hit by your own bomb.
Oh yeah, because you have to walk on top of the bomb. Forgot about that strat. It's cool.
There is a much faster version, but we ain't even going to talk about that. Yeah, my timing is really bad on this strat, but Squirrel probably has a good clip of it, actually.
There's also the chances are, if you're at the level where you're running out of arrows, you probably have powder. So powdering that anti-fairy to get them out of your way is
totally legit.
Is a perfectly reasonable race strat.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if you absolutely, like, if stuff just goes really, really wrong, your best bet really is to just slash them. There's really not much else you can do.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at your bot. Oh, dude, you're a 2-2-2 guy too.
I consider myself 3-2-1. I know what you mean.
Or that's what I meant.
Should probably also show 4 up, since it is the easiest.
I am bad at that. I don't know how to do that.
It's 4 up, 2 left, and then just start firing up.
I don't know this one either. I practiced this and was like, well, 3-2-1's way better, so.
Yeah.
Or easier. For
See,
me.
I find 3-2-1
everyone's
a lot
different.
easier, so. But yeah. Anyway, if you like just really mess up the fight.
Definitely shooting arrows into the wall is a good backup strat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure slashes are gonna do more damage, but once you get to this guy, you can kind of do some like poke dash business, and I think it's better to like release a spin or something. I don't know if that's actually any better, but that's just what I've always done. Main thing is don't poke them, okay? But poke dashes are fine, because that would do the next level up of damage.
Yeah, poke dash is a slash.
Yeah, slashing them or poke dashing them seems to be your best bet.
And of course, if the fight goes long, your Ganon fight will be different. So if you get used to the specific pattern of fire bats, just know that if you had a bad Ice Armos, things ain't gonna be what you expect in Ganon.
Very true. Make extensive use of the hookshot if you absolutely have to.
And if it goes really sideways, and you already know that you've screwed up the bats, and you're down a ton of hearts, to the left of the Ice Armos room, there's a bonkable wall with fairies behind it.
Nice. Cool. Alright,
Trying to think of something to go over.
I was just looking at boss deaths being would be best to cover. Alright, so for the normal arrow fight against Ice Armos, is it good to start firing arrows from the exact spot where you drop? No, you definitely need to you need to adjust a little bit, I think, regardless of where you drop in. Load up the room. That's what? Hello? I was like, all I could think of was bombable, and I'm like, oh, hey, this is the bombable floor. Let's do this. Yeah, Mothula Death we'll go over next. Really nothing changes with that, except for magic for the mummy home. So yeah, we can go over that next.
But, yeah, for Ice Armos, I don't know how everyone else does it, but I always line up Link so he's in between two of the ice tiles.
I like it.
On the right side, yeah.
You can also look at
Right
the
there.
Ice Armos shield.
Hmm.
I think slashing the shield puts you into a good position.
How does it? Seems fine. Oh, that's the fire rod. Hey. Yeah, for sure. Whoa! I don't know about that, dude. I didn't want to be this close. But yeah, I pretty much use the same visual cue that Dude Brosick was talking about. I basically try to put Link in the middle of these 4 tiles right here. But I think the position does change based on where you fall in. But you're probably still gonna have to adjust yourself afterwards, regardless, just to make sure you're in the right spot. Yo, Walrus, what's up? Alright. So dying to Moth sucks because you're most likely out of magic. Over that. So you'll start back here. Alright, so I've got no magic. There are a bunch of small magic pots in this room, and so probably the easiest way to go about it is just farm all of these pots. You're probably going to want hearts anyway. Not bad. That gives you a little bit of magic. You can do this room entirely with the torch at this point, or with the lamp, and then finish it with fire rod. That's an option. You can also farm these mummies if you want to risk killing one or something, maybe for a full drop, because they can drop full magic. Then you can do this room the normal way. There's a much cooler way to do it that I probably won't be able to do because it's actually really hard. So I'm just going to actually post a link to it. This strat is really hard, but it's a really cool backup. So shout outs to Timon for coming up with it. It was mostly for low percent because, like, obviously, pretty. Moth is a horrible fight in low percent. It's a horrible fight, like, regardless. But
that is an insane backup, dude.
yeah.
I actually haven't seen that before.
Hey, which one didn't light? Oh, I missed the
bottom.
one.
You got deboosted down and lamped below the torch.
Yeah, it's really hard, but you're using the iframes of the mummy. I think it's easiest if you cancel the dash with up right, maybe? Yeah, if I slash that mummy, that would have been fine. Okay, so canceling the dash before the menu is actually smart.
Speaking of magic backups, what to do when you have to refight Ganon and you have no magic?
Oh yeah, good call. Yeah, that is what you do if you fight a Moth and you are very low on magic. You either farm that room with the pots, farm the mummies, you know, do whatever you have to do to get to the proper magic level. But just keep in mind that you can always use the lamp to do at least 3 of those torches. So you only need like 1.5 charges of magic for that. Okay, so Ganon, no magic?
Yep.
Alright, so let's say you died to Ganon, oh no, and you're out of magic. Well, do we want to do completely out of, let's do both. How about that? Let's say you have some amount of magic, okay? What you can do is all of these enemies out here outside of the pyramid, if you freeze and then hammer them, they have a really good chance of dropping magic. So that's a really quick way. It's probably the fastest way if you actually do have some amount of magic left. And really, if you run out of magic, you're just going to have to end up doing the other thing I'm going to talk about anyway. Which is... I'll just show a few more of these guys just to show that they do drop. I think the Ropas do as well, definitely this guy. But their movement can be a little squirrely, so... yeah, the rope up here is fair game too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's a pretty good trick, is if you freeze and then hammer an enemy. I think it moves them to the magic pack, which also apparently has a blue rupee in it. Or the Ropas aren't a part of it, we're just wrong. Alright, so, let's say you don't want to do that, or you just have 0 magic whatsoever. What you're gonna do is not Mire right there, because that's gonna be bad. You're gonna get warp backed instantaneously. Let's go down here. And then you're gonna flute to 3. You're gonna go up here. Bonk into this tree right here, and you're gonna get a full magic from it. And then at that point you would flute back to 4. go back through the Castle Gate warp here to get back to the Ganon fight. If you're low on health, which I am right now, tree right here, you bonk it, we'll always have a fairy in it. I think those backups are pretty well known, but always good to keep in mind.
If you are a gold sword, silver arrows runner and you run out of arrows, the fastest place to farm arrows is by fluting to 5 and killing the Armos statues outside of Eastern Palace.
No kidding. Today I learned. I'm gonna try that right now. If I can remember Mire in the right spot. Looting to 5 and killing the Armos statue.
Yeah, the little ones that you touch and they come to life.
That was a weird flute menu. Nice.
Yeah, that's the one you're usually trying to not do, and then you end up doing it anyway, going to 5.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the one. Nobody means to end up here, but...
Then when you do it, try to do it, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Isn't small magic pot same amount of magic as an ice rod shot? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
And if you only get 5 arrows there and you want to get more, just go in the cave and come out.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. That was one thing that I didn't talk about. When you are farming for magic outside of Ice Palace, this is something that I see a lot of people do actually. Let's say you have no magic and you're trying to farm and you kill both of these guys and they don't end up dropping anything. Don't go back into one of these warps. Go into the cave and walk back out. Repeat the process. Much faster. Yikes. Okay. No, I was one of those people too, Griff, don't worry. It's one of those things that's just not very intuitive, you know, until you've actually looked at it and timed it, or somebody's told you about it or whatever, so. Alright, keep questions rolling, please. If anybody has anything at all. Otherwise, you will be subject to the whims of whatever we want to talk about.
Do you want to go over what to do if you get hit during Tree Rupee route?
Yeah, let's do that.
And you could go over like some of the better enemies to kill that might be a little safer, or
yeah. Let's just let's rap about Tree Rupees in general right now. First
Streamer,
of all,
how much time does Tree Rupees even save, and should I bother with it if I have a 150?
Probably not is my answer, but do whatever makes you happy. Like, it's your own speed run, do whatever you want to do. But my recommendation would be that since it only saves on average, for most people, 3 to 4 seconds, it's much easier to just get everything behind Sahasrara and just call it good and not worry about it. It's really not worth it, especially when you have to consider the backups. Pay no attention to this man, except for 99% of the time when he knows exactly what he's talking about. But yeah, like if you're really good with it, it saves like 6 or 7 seconds, but that's pretty rare. So it's really not that much. However, if you are doing Tree Rupees, first Rupee Tree. I recently learned some new stuff about Tree Rupees too, courtesy of Josh RTA, by way of Emma.
Is this going to be the bird dash?
No, it's not going to be bird dash, because heck doing that at all. I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's say I need 3 rupees. Now, if I want to go to the right of the tree, that's going to be a pain to collect, because I'm going to have to pull the tree. I'm going to have to walk over here and grab this one, and grab these other 2 and dash up. A much easier way is to pull this, grab these 2 over here, dash over here, and dash to the left of this tree. And it's slightly faster, and you actually end up skipping this bush crab that's over here because you'd have to walk back for it. So you just end up dashing this way. And you kill all 4 enemies that you need for tree rupees inside of the forest. It's like 15 frames faster, but it's also reliant on actually keeping sword beams. Now, the safe and easy way to do tree rupees, in my opinion.
Well, doing tree rupees is reliant on keeping sword beams too, so.
Truth. So,
Unless
yeah,
you bonk in the diagonal cave.
Oh, fair enough.
right, or get hit by a squirrel outside of here. Like, any point before pulling this tree right here, your damage doesn't matter. But as soon as you pull this tree, including if you pull this tree and run into this guy right here, then yeah, you're pretty much screwed. So yeah, you don't want to take any damage after this point. So easy route is going on this side of the tree, killing this bush crab right here, not getting stuck on the lumberjacks like that because their hitbox is massive. You kill these 2 guys. Something that I do just for safety that you can do as well. It's up to you. The fastest way is to just dash through this guy again, but what I like to do is just poke him. 1, to make sure that he dies on screen, and 2, to potentially get an arrow drop.
Real quick, when you're transitioning into the Lost Woods, it happens to everybody at least once.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention and you transition into the Lost Woods low, when you dash down to kill that bird, he'll die off screen. So when you enter the Lost Woods, there's some bushes that are right there. If at all you are uncertain, have your dash nudge those bushes, that little group of 4. As long as you nudge those bushes, you'll be high enough so that when you turn and dash down and kill the bird, he will stay on screen. If you're too far below those bushes and you kill the bird with your dash down, he may die off screen and the kill doesn't count, and you'll get 4 green rupees or 4 blue rupees, and you'll want to know why.
I think you can be too high as well, actually. But
not if you nudge the bushes.
Right, not if, yeah, like with what you're saying with nudging, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right about that. But if you do find that you don't nudge the bushes, it is possible that you're going to be not in the right spot to actually kill the bird on screen, but make sure you're transitioning just on this screen pretty high. Like, you don't have to be like up against this tree, and this is actually bad. You want to be a little bit lower than that.
But like if you're aligned with those bottom bushes, you're risking being too low and killing the bird off screen.
Yeah. So that's just another reason that I decided to poke it. That's just it's just another safety thing that you can choose to do or not do.
Or another reason to not do tree rupees at all.
Yep. Oh, apparently the new movement tech, by the way, for this is dashing, walking, the rest of it. That's a thing. Alright, so yay, we got the Master Sword. Oh, sorry, I meant to send you a link to this. Shoutouts to being able to skip entire text conversation. Okay. Hey, do I have anything? Okay. Well, what else can hit me? Alright, so let's say you do get hit by something on the way to doing tree rupees here. Obviously you're not going to get the right result from these. So, you need to kill 4 more enemies on the way. So your first one is going to be this bird that you dash through right here. Now optionally, you can choose to kill both of these guys right here, but it's pretty easy to just go ahead and just kill one of them. I don't know. It's kind of up to you. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can kind of just judge it for yourself and see if it's going to be easy to kill both. But at the least, most of the time, it's easy to at least dash through one of these guys. So you'll have 2 or 3 at this point. think this is another one that you could potentially kill. This blue guy right here, since all you have to do is just face up and slash him again.
If the green guard ends up going low, you can end up dashing through him as well. That's RNG based though.
So there's more potential kills, and then there's another guaranteed one coming up right here that you always dash through, and that's this guy right here. If you've gotten to this point and you've only killed 3, you can dash up to the middle here, charge your sword, kill these guys right here. And you're gonna pull this tree right here. Hopefully, I get bombed. So awkward doing this.
Yeah.
So that's one of the backups. The third one is probably not worth talking about because it requires not taking any damage throughout the entirety of GTower, including, you know, blue balls and all that good stuff. So not entirely impossible, but
Go over the Kiki backup. Kiki rupees.
you mean Saha? Just going to Saha?
Yeah, well, where to Mire in relation to Kiki to get the Saha rupees.
There's actually, if you're only down if you're down less than 5 rupees, like if you have anywhere between 105 and 109, there's a tree that you can bonk right before the big screen, before that, the entrance is.
If you're only down by 20, you can also pull a statue in front of the pyramid, and it should give you blues.
That's true. Also, these guys here, these gold knights, can potentially drop. So.
And if you're only down by 1, on the, like if you find you have 109, the Ropas on the Palace of Darkness overworld in the maze, if you boomerang them and then kill them, they will always drop a green rupee.
Let's go over all these on the overworld screen then. Well, I guess the pyramid. Oh, hello. Welcome, Josh.
Hello.
Well, I'm doing this because I want to pull on the thing. Which one is it? The
Far left.
far left. Okay.
It's probably the worst, but if you actually end up in a situation where you're down 20, I think it's faster than mirroring to. Nice rupees.
Yeah.
So
good.
the
Nice
tree you
preset.
bonk, I don't remember exactly which one it is, but it's to the right of the
It's the
entrance to
second
that
tree
screen.
to the right.
Yeah.
Tree to the right on this screen, right? Oh yeah, I just got
Bonk
it.
it from the top.
Yeah. And you just automatically collect it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And that's a 5, correct?
Yep.
Sweet. Another good one. I would probably never think about this one. Glad you guys know about that. Yeah, so the thing that Scrivo was talking about, and this is true of any enemy in the game, I'm pretty sure. If you boom them before you kill them, they're always going to drop a green rupee. So if you're just one short, that's a way you can potentially farm. But just Ropas in general will drop rupees. Man, I don't know if I'm good enough. But...
I can clip it. Such did it in my run today.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I've been trying to work that into my run more, because I've been starting to do a pause buffer, like when you're running into those guys. At that point, let me see if I can pull up a good state for that. Would be Mire Overworld. Oh yeah, so I guess it's just if you stun an enemy at all,
Yes.
then and then kill it, then it'll drop a green, right? So it can be with either the boomerang or the hookshot.
Or a nice pair of Ray-Ban aviators.
Okay, Blunt Honey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you need some blunt money, he'll sell you a pair of sunglasses. Hit him up on Twitter.
Alright, so this is where I've actually been using the buffer to hookshot here. Like, pretty much like when you run into this guy. Alright, so while... After you initially hit a squirrel, there is some window of frames where you can hit it again And I'm pretty sure you can just chain it together as long as it actually has somewhere to go, right? But it will keep moving out of your way if you hit it. If you manage to hit it again within that window. Yeah, Josh just posted a clip of it. And I think probably, I'm not really sure which spot that Scudge is thinking of, but maybe it's like TRock Overworld. Like there, you just saw my beam actually hit it twice, and so it actually pushed it farther back than it probably would have gone if it had just gotten hit once. And window. Yeah, I'm not gonna say any numbers because they're gonna be wrong, and there are plenty of people who know the real numbers.
It's a pretty big window. I don't know what it actually is, but it's not hard to do.
It took
With
until
super speed, at least.
It took until 2018 for Scudge to tell us we were all wrong about how many frames it takes to charge a dash.
Yeah. But now we know for sure, and it has been confirmed. But yeah, that's another little handy tip for sure. So there you just saw it right there. It's easy to do with hookshot if you're reasonably close to them. Like a picture window. Alright, I'm gonna grab some water really quick. Okay, and we're back. The Black Rock can have a fairy, no kidding? Oh man.
Probably not. Error.
No, because it's probably a 50-50 Scudge.
Oh, also, for anybody that is still grabbing bottle and net, if you are bonking something to collect, a 1 and 8, that's useful.
Ooh, horrible.
There you go. If you're still collecting a bottle and a net, and you are bonking something to collect a fairy, you can net dash it, and quite often you will insta-catch the fairy.
No, that's not going to be happening in this stream, unfortunately.
There's an Instagrab for that that bonk rock too. I don't know if that's been gone over yet, but if you hookshot the rocks and then bonk it, you'll automatically pick up the fairy.
You just hookshot it, it's not hook dash, right?
Right. You just have to stand next to it, hookshot it, and then bonk, and you'll automatically pick up the fairy.
But yeah, if you really want to know about pumping, Helposaur can help.
Mash the buttons.
Wait, where do you have to hookshot it from?
You have to be standing pretty close to it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's right up against it. Maybe I should have specified that, but I forgot about it.
Is it a hook dash or just a hook shot? I actually didn't know
Should
about
just be a
this.
hook shot. Well, I've gotten it to work before, but I don't remember how.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that being a thing. It needs to not clink, so do you have to get like, is it like a frame roll thing or something? Or you just like hook it a few times until you see that it hasn't clinked? I didn't know. Maybe you grab it immediately because you're standing right next to the rock. That, and what's the name of that, the thing where like the simplest explanation for something is the most likely true one? Occam's razor or something? Get this to.
Alright, I'm loading up the practice hack now because I know I've gotten this to work pretty
I
easily
believe you.
before.
Emulator specific trick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, Jake. I think it's top and.
Yes, thank you for the buttlow, bacon butt.
Okay, yeah, there it is. It's silly because like you're pretty much always standing. Well, I guess maybe not. Okay, yeah, there you go. So top left corner. See, we're all learning together. Isn't this amazing? That's pretty cool. That seems complicated. Dude. Knockback from weird. That butt, not overly useful.
I think you could do it on the right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm practicing it now, so I'll confirm, but...
Oh, Sketch brings up a good one.
Ooh, that's an excellent one. Okay, so... The Dark Key Archer Room in GTower. When you have beams, you can't do the thing that you normally do. You can't do the key dash. You're not gonna be able to do it. So don't try. I mean, you can, but you're gonna lose time. So don't. So you do the same sort of strat where you're poking this guy, but instead of walking all the way down and slashing him like you normally would do, you want to stay higher than that. I released a spin there. So you don't want to be against the wall when you start your dash here. And you actually need to cancel your dash before you hit this, because obviously you're not going to hit the key dash since you're not up against the wall. So poke him, flash him to the right. Start your dash here. Cancel your dash through this guard. Walk through. Hey man, that's how you gotta do it. Sometimes there can be another archer like right over here instead of he's right above me right now. But sometimes he'll be down here and he'll be firing an arrow as you're charging your dash. If he does that, you can actually block that arrow just by staying facing right as you're charging your dash. And then you'll just you'll end up blocking his arrow, and then you can still. So basically, just start your dash facing right always, and then with the last, pretty close to the last possible frames, face up. Yes, shield can be. So yeah, that's what you do when you have beams.
Yes, butt spot. You can also butt spears with your shield.
So that's what happens if you try to do the normal strat. This guy aggro's too fast because of your beam. So by the time you started your dash, the archer just already on you.
I literally learned that right now.
Nice, dude. That's why we're here.
I never associated the beam with that.
Okay. Yeah, so other places you can use your shield effectively.
Oh, nice, dude.
Streamer, is it true that losing your shield can save frames?
It is true. You save some lag frames by not having your shield in some spots. But
This is my favorite strat in the entire game.
Good
if
luck.
you get the RNG for it.
Alright, I was really unhappy with that dash, so I got through.
You have sexy Saxman aquatic ambience on right now.
Seemed like that, yes. Right there. Your shield is extremely useful in that scenario.
It's so nice.
It's so nice.
It's my favorite ever. I actually always hope that guy's gonna do that.
I do too.
Secretly, I'm like,
Oh,
I hope
the
that
other-
guy shoots a spear at me.
The other really, really small thing about this particular screen, which really isn't a big deal, but it's just another thing I see. So if you just start your dash just from wherever you get out of your warp, you get all this crazy lag from dashing through the grass here, right? See how slow that is? Now, if you just tap down while you start your dash, Move down a little bit. None of that lag is there anymore. Congratulations, you just saved some frames.
That's because Link is on the border of the tiles, and although he's cutting the top row, he'll be walking or dashing through the bottom row.
Nice. Actually,
That's
didn't know the
really
science
bad.
for it. That's cool to hear.
So it's best to like get more even with the tile before dashing. So
Yeah.
he like cuts the grass as he's running through it.
Yeah, and I think you only need to move down a pixel in order to get onto that position. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as long as you
it's a
hit-
very, very minimal amount.
as long as you hit down and A at the same time, you will always move down that 1 pixel required. Yeah, and the other good place for using your shield is in the swamp overworld. There's actually a really nice buffer that I like right here as well. Through the mirror, right at the bottom, so you can see what this guy's gonna do. Obviously he's gonna throw the spear, but like I'm right next to him, so. Usually you only need to block if he throws it like super early. I just went too low there, that's my fault. Like that. Ah yes, that's another great question. Yeah. Good shield uses. Sometimes Moldorm is a real meat grill to me. One of the best things I can do to keep it from bullying me. Alright, pretty much, Moldorm's gonna bully if he wants to bully. But there are some things you can do to try and mitigate that. Personally, what I found, and this is just for myself, but I don't actually like dashing through him for the first 4 or 5 hits. I think it's actually much easier to follow him around. And so the key thing that you need to realize about Moldorm is that the tail is always going to follow the head. So basically, watch the head to figure out where you need to slash. Be where the head was just a little bit ago. And so like once he kind of curls into his position here, I like to get somewhat close to him and then just react to where his head is going. And just kind of follow his path. Just react to where he's going to go.
Oh, hey, his eyes don't stop when you select. That's really pretty big.
But for the last hit, since he's moving so fast, usually you want to bash through for that hit. The other thing to talk about that most people probably know about, but in case you don't, if you're up against an edge like this and you got your sword out, face away from the edge and just press the opposite direction against it while he's on you. Something that can kind of keep you safe is actually this lower right corner right here while you have your sword out. Like if you just really don't want to mess with him at all, you just really don't know what he's doing, this can be a really good way to guard yourself from pretty much anything that he's going to do. So that's a kind of a nice safe spot if you just really don't want to do anything.
Another general tip for Moldorm is when you do hit him and he's in that little stun animation, if it's quick and you can get there quickly, just try to get behind him. And then, you know, if he curls back around, just reacting it out of the way. But if he goes straight or just wiggles a little bit, you could just slash pretty much right as he gets to his full length, and you'll get another quick hit off.
Yeah, that's cool. If he's on the left side of the hole like this, and he's like really favoring this side, and he's not coming out at all, don't go up there. Definitely don't go up there. Don't try to like follow his tail or anything. But sometimes you can kind of just sit down here. I'll try to just get away from him. But you can release spins from like right here, even like farther away sometimes. Just releasing spins and you'll end up hitting him when he's over there on the left side. That can be kind of a somewhat safe way to deal with that.
Totally unrelated, but just thought of, did you cover what to do if you find yourself in Mire with no bombs?
Nope, but we can get to that for sure.
We're still on Moldorm, Scrivo, jeez.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah, and there was a question about Chomp RNG too,
Yep.
so.
Chomps RNG
Yeah.
is next.
One thing
Nice
about
middle hole.
Moldorm's movement when he's out in the open is actually very predictable if you like spend some time with it. He does this like alternating pattern where he'll walk or he'll like move straight and then rotate and then move straight and then rotate.
Yeah.
I believe he actually will like lock onto you. So if he's just
that's
wiggling around and you come across his field of vision, he'll go straight at you for a little bit. So you can use that to bait him and then just
yeah,
walk
I think
around.
the wiki page details his AI,
Yeah.
so you can kind of.
Dude, the pause screen eyes are fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially that color.
Yeah. The main kink in the pattern is if he hits the edge, it's just kind of random what he does once he has collided with an edge.
Yeah, so maybe in those instances it's better to give him a wider berth and just kind of give yourself more time to react to what he's going to do.
You can also, like, while he's stunned, you can completely walk through his head. So you can use that to your advantage sometimes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, and only the head damages you.
Yeah, normally, yeah.
Oh,
but when he's stunned,
like
not
how you
even
tried
that
to do it,
damages
and you just got wrecked.
Yeah.
Normally,
You got to find the tolerance, man.
and also, wherever the head is, that is where the tail will be. The tail follows the head.
Literally the first thing I said.
I was dealing with a baby.
Alright, so I think that's probably enough about Moldorm. Talk about Chomps.
Squeeva, don't talk about yourself that way.
Wah.
So I highly recommend clicking on that image at the end there, and also watching the video by Blunt Bunny. But I'll try to briefly.
You should probably
explain
just do
it.
Brahmin Block Blast.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I just want to get it.
If the Chomps are being quite the chomp.
I sure want to get it.
One small thing while I'm here anyway. If this Pokey goes up to the top, don't charge your sword immediately. Wait a little bit. You gotta walk for like 1,000,000 miles to get up to him anyway.
You can wait until like the 4th row of tiles in the room. You can start charging pretty late. There's also a strategy you can do when he's in the top where you key dash the door, which is really cool.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway, so Chomps. The Chewy Chomp.
As long as they aren't about pumping.
Alright. So obviously this is bad RNG. What I'm going to try to do here is place a block in line with both of the switches, but slightly offset of center. And then I'm going to walk to one of the walls and try to bait out the Chomp's first attack. And while they're attacking, I'm going to move down to the blue pegs and activate the block, which should hit both switches. If I don't get completely and utterly screwed by RNG. Now here, I couldn't go to the wall because this guy being a jerk, but you still want to bait them out away from where you're going to end up. Walk over here. Just take your time if you like really have to. That just didn't work at all. So that time I actually baited them up a little bit, which was better. Like you really don't want to be baiting them down by the blocks where you're going to end up being anyway.
You probably specified this, but just want to reiterate that you want to make sure that the block that you plant is clearly closer to one than the other, or else you'll have barely any time to get onto the blue pegs, and it won't work.
Yeah, so that's why you want it to be slightly off-center, but probably more than slightly, actually. Like, heavily favoring one side, because that really, like Deep said, that's the amount of time you're going to have to react.
Placing it more or less in line with the chomp, the like blocks, the chomps are chained to.
That's a good cue. That was good.
So.
Oh, and just about the pumping, if that, because I know that did come up before, and you know if it was a serious question or not. Pumping over the entire run doesn't save that much time, so you know, it's something you could do, but it's not something that is really necessary to get any manner of good times in the run.
Yeah. The only places that you actually should pump, no matter your feelings of it, are on the water rooms and escape, and on any ladder that you're climbing, you should double pump. But if those are the only places that you pump, you're probably getting 50 to 75% of the benefit of pumping just from doing that, and don't worry about anything else. Unless you want to, and then in which case, pump your little heart out.
I'm really bad at this.
Everyone's really bad at that strat.
Alright. Okay, next question. Hey, when you get hookshot, I see people just hook to the right twice and get the key, but I keep hitting the guardrails around the pot that has the key. What
Oh,
is-
that dash. Or
So, while you
not dash, the hook.
while you set that up, there's an easier question, shorter question while you set up the hook one.
Yeah, go for it.
The different methods for activating super speed. You can charge a sword and press dash on the first frame after you release the sword. You can do a hook dash, or you can do a medallion dash. The three of those will put you in the glitched state, and then it's a matter of touching and leaving some manual stairs. Sometimes if you leave the manual stairs and you don't get the super speed glitch, it might mean that you were holding a diagonal leaving it. So it's sword, the spin and release, hook dash, or medallion dash are the three ways to get the super speed glitch.
And if you're going to try it in different areas, keep in mind that once you're in the hook dash state, you cannot slash. So if you're trying to hook dash and then you don't make it to stairs before you need to slash something, you won't be able to slash it.
Yeah, and if you just retap A and things will be good again.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the medallion dash is really only ever used for TRock. And you can utilize it in one of two ways. One is actually getting the spin speed state, super speed, off of it, but you have to be really good with your movement. The other usage is just getting a first frame hop off the ledge, which is actually useful, so you can actually intentionally not get the super speed off of it and just use it for the first frame hop, which is totally viable. Alright, so this hook shot thing. If you want to, so most of the time when you hook over, you have to adjust or just walk over to the second pot, but there's a way you can hook once and then just hook immediately without even moving to hook to the next pot. So the way you do that is after you walk up these stairs, the only thing you have to do is make sure you're aligned with the left edge of this statue right here. So just come up these stairs, do a little diagonal, and you'll be on the right edge. So from there, make sure you're not moving left or right. Walk straight up to the chest. From the chest. And then out of this text box, you're going to want to hold down left. So I'll just do
Or
that.
down right.
No, yeah, down right would actually be a lot better, since that's actually the direction you want to move. I have no idea why I said down left. But yeah, hold down right out of this menu until you get to the very edge of the platform here. And at that point, you're just going to stop your movement. And what I actually like to do is use the pause to hookshot right here, because you actually have a number of frames that you can hold right against this, and the number is 20.
19.
19.
Trust me, I know.
But yeah, you line with the left edge of the statue, open, diagonal, pause, hookshot, pick up the pot, hookshot again, pick up second pot. And yeah, really the only trick there is just aligning yourself with this statue, and then just holding down right out of that.
And make sure you don't chest turn. That's really key.
Another safety strat that I like to do here, because I still see a lot of people dashing off the left edge of this, is just doing a dash. Shut up. Is just doing a dash south off the platform like this. Because what this does is it sticks your sword out, so if there is a fish that comes out, you'll end up killing him. But yes, going off the left is faster, it's optimal.
Yes.
You do end up getting hit a lot, so I'll do Okay. For GBZ, I am definitely not the person to show those cues, but that last link there will take you to that.
Ugh. I need to make a pay spin for Desert.
You did.
Or for Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Really, there are only a few, like, there are 30 however many actual RNGs or whatever, but you really only need to worry about 3 or 4 different actual patterns of reacting to. So, but yeah, that's kind of outside of the scope of this Q&A session, I would say. The strat I would recommend for pretty much everyone is to just walk and react, because it's pretty much just as fast. Okay. What was next? Was there anything next? I guess did your question about super speed get properly answered?
Dude, I love the inclusion of Butt Spot.
It's pretty much key to this Q&A
Hi,
session. He's got questions too, man.
Oh, Turtle Room and Pod, let's go.
Jake, I'm assuming you're asking about GBZ, right?
Hey, Deebs.
Yeah.
What's your best time in Turtle Room and Pod?
8:10.
Yeah, Emma is absolutely correct. It's only faster in 1 RNG for GBZ to actually fall off and dash through, so it's better to just walk.
Guess what mine is, Deebs?
8:05.
Lower.
Wow.
Bam.
8:03.
Lower.
8:01.
Lower.
8.
Lower.
Wow, you've gotten in the 7s, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What is it?
758.
Nice, dude.
Let's actually go to the turtle room. Let's actually dash into the turtle room. Okay. So, my cues are right here when Link's shield is pretty much right in the middle of this top row of turtles here is when I do my first hammer. And something that I do, I don't know if it's placebo or if it actually helps, but I actually do a down left diagonal into this hammer. Like that. And then your second hammer, you want to be actually pretty fast after your first one. It can be like way faster than you, way sooner than you really think it can ever be. So those are my kind of cues for getting the first 2 hammers, which are arguably the most important parts of the room, I would say.
You may have just mentioned this and I wasn't listening, but I noticed, and I don't even remember if this is true or not, but I noticed that everyone goes slightly down left before the hammer.
Yeah, I did say that. I said
Okay.
I don't know if it was placebo or not, but I've always just done this and it seems to help.
Yeah.
I've always just done that down left into the hammer. And, seems to cover a lot of RNGs. Now, if you get screwed like this, you have a few options. You can just kill the top turtles, which I think is actually better. I'll take care of these guys first, but actually what I like to do is, since I always know what the top turtles are going to do, because they're always going to come back together, come to the middle, and then walk straight down towards me, I just wait for them, and then I can hammer both of them and just... But I'm pretty sure that's slower than just, like, if you mess up going to kill the top ones first and then cleaning up the bottom. But for me, it's just safer, so... I just wait. It feels dumb, but I mean, you're really never gonna mess it up. Yo, Dode, what's up? 551. Hell yeah. Now, if you do something like that, where you accidentally poke, what I like to do is charge another spin, go down here, spin these guys, and wait for the top guys. And if you do that, just best of luck.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things that you can do if you're slow cleaning up the bottom 4 is trying to rush it and get to both the 2 guys on top.
Yeah.
Because
It's always better to just wait them out for sure.
Yeah.
This is interesting. But yeah, since you pretty much know what those top guys are always going to do, I think it's just easier to save them for last. But hopefully that helps a little bit. Owasi. Strats for Gauntlet. Okay.
Did you cover Ganon Ball Z? Somebody asked about Ganon Ball Z earlier.
No, because that's outside of the scope of this, for sure.
Okay.
I told him, I just said walk. And I gave him the link to the actual science behind it, so if he wants to say the patterns, and good on him.
The truest baby strat for that is just walk off the ledge immediately and then dash.
Only faster in 1 RNG, dude.
But always faster than getting halfway there and getting knocked off.
Sure, but that rarely happens unless you dash. If you just walk it, I feel like that just it's so tough for that to actually happen. Perf hurts. Up D-Rack. Alright, let's go over some Gauntlet stuff, yeah. Okay. So the very first thing is you always want to arrow this red Stalfos that's just to the left here. And you do not want to hold diagonal at any point either, because that makes a lot of lag. So always arrow this guy. And then what you want to do is kind of clear this room from the middle, and then finish the right side, and then dash back left. You finish off the very last red horse head. So what I like to do is, if any of the enemies go down, I fire an arrow at them. If they go up, I'll try to slash them. So let's see what happens. That guy went up, this guy went up, and you dash through the last guy. Guy went down, this guy went up.
And you
Fire down.
very rarely ever want to slash a Stalfos from below.
Now, if this red Stalfos is against the wall like this, it looks like you can't hit him because the block's there. But if you just push yourself up against the right wall, you can still fire it down, hit him with an arrow. So that is my G1 approach. Don't mind the horrible execution right now. Jeez, that guy just dodged everything I threw at him. Alright, so that's G1. That's a pretty good approach. For G2, this is my approach. I always pick up this pot and throw it at that guy. And what I do from here is dash down these 2 guys. Because what this does is, in the best possible case, you dash down and you kill both of them. And you just walk out of the room and you're done. But in some bad cases, this guy maybe doesn't get hit and he jumps away. Well, that's still fine though, because you know exactly which way he's jumping and you know where he's going to land. So if you still got some arrows, finish him off that way. The only bad thing about this is if he does get one of these projectiles off, the door's not going to open until that projectile actually gets off the screen. So you do have to wait for that on occasion. But I feel like this is just the most consistent thing that covers the majority of RNGs. Sometimes you can kind of adjust your dash based on where you see the bottom 2 guys going. This guy jumped and I knew where he was going to land, and I knew he was close enough to where I could just slash him. I knew I was going to be able to get him into the corner. So if you can corner him, that's definitely great. When they get out into the open is when things get bad. So if this guy is like just kind of roaming around, I like to grab this bottom right pot until it gets lasered out of my hands. And finish the room that way, because I feel like that's a much more like consistent way of actually killing the guy rather than like chasing around with slashes. Well, thanks for the follows, y'all. So that's my personal approach to G1 or G2. If anyone else has other tips for it, feel free to chime in, but that's just the way I approach it.
I do hard shit. Don't do that.
Yep. Okay, so for G3, I guess this is, I mean, the quote-unquote hard strat, but there's really no easy strat for this room at all, so this is the easiest strat because it is what's going to be the most consistent and kill all of the guys the fastest. So, hold down right out of this room, you're always going to slash this guy, and then you're going to start a dash somewhere around here. I don't actually have a cue for it, I just kind of feel it. I don't know where I start it, but you're going to start a dash such that you're dashing in between the spikes and the BMOs here. Which looks really sketchy, but as long as you understand that the hitbox of the BMOs is like super tiny and pretty much right in the middle of them, you really shouldn't be that scared. So it looks like this dash is going to kill both of them, which is awesome, but it didn't. So what you can do is use the next item you want anyway is Fire Rod. So a really amazing buffer here. I found it from Blunt Bunny. I don't know if he got it from somewhere else, but change to Fire Rod here, both to buffer to that item and also judge where those guys are going to go, and so you can figure out how you're going to finish out the room. In the case that this guy goes way top left to the room, you can actually shoot a Fire Rod shot at him and kill him, and then conveniently there's a small magic pot right here, because you absolutely want to have as much magic as possible going into Land Mode 2. So if he does go up like that, and you see a good opportunity to use the Fire Rod, go for it. But only in the case that you use exactly one shot, you always get this small magic pot. So that's G3. The pause buffer is amazing. It will help your rooms immensely. Alright, G4. What I do is hold down right and instantly dash as soon as I see Link move. And I just dash past no matter what. There is a way... Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Emma. Shoot. If you do find that you're kind of... you have to chase one of those guys, don't run against the conveyor, go with the flow, go around counter or clockwise with the conveyor, because you're going to move so much faster than trying to like struggle against it. It's like, you know, like when you're in Ice Palace in the conveyor room. Yeah, and G3 is what I'm talking about. But I mean, in this room I guess it would apply to if you sort of had to do that. So for this, dash through. Occasionally you will kill this guy here. Make sure Link does actually move out of the room. And then you just kind of have to judge what to do about this guy from here. If you get this fast RNG here, where you can kill this guy, you're going to get lasered by the top left BMOs here. Unless you just dodge to the left a little bit. You can actually just dodge a little bit to the left and start a dash. Pretty fine. There I didn't get lasered, but it's pretty much always going to hit you if you get that fast RNG. Yeah, this is actually one of the worst rooms, because if it goes poorly, like there's not really a good backup strat. Like if you end up missing this top guy, can't. Alright, so this sucks. But most of the time, it seems like they stay on the right side of the room, so. This, I mean, it's just read and react, really, in this room. There's no cure-all that I can really give you for this. Alright. So, after G4... for this room, now you're going to hold down left And as soon as you see Link move, you're going to shoot your Fire Rod. And that will 100% always hit that style, folks.
Yeah, the down left is important because
I will 100% always hit that
yeah.
stuff. God damn.
yeah. If you don't down left, then it won't be a consistent shot. Also, the practice hack is
The practice hack is weird.
This is
You won't ever see that on a real card, I promise.
No, you will not.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the previous room. Like if you see Link move out of the door at all, you're fine to shoot.
But
It's
yeah,
being weird right now.
just trust us. On original cart, that shot will kill the skeleton every single time.
And then from there, what you don't want to do is slash like an
real quick.
absolute madman to try to kill this last guy.
Real quick to clarify Josh's statement there. Not just original cart, but also emulator or SD to SNES
Yeah.
also work. It's just the practice ROM where the Fire Rod AoE doesn't work right.
Yeah.
For reasons unknown.
Yeah, when you're trying to finish off this guy, don't just spam your sword. That's going to lead to bad times, and you're not going to be able to actually control your movement or anything, okay? Short, controlled flashes. That's all you have to do. And just let your momentum carry you. Just let the ice do a lot of the work. You really don't have to do much at all. Yes, that's a good point. Don't go for the pots at the bottom because you will have a bad time. That spark will heck you up. I really want to see.
Oh, and don't worry about trying to dash cleanly into that door. If you're in the same zip code as that door, you're going through it.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Like here, you see like the line of ice that I'm on, and it looks like it's going to pretty much run into the door, but it's totally and utterly fine. I was trying to dodge the beam. Alright. Yeah, and obviously
you will
there's
have a
beam
bad butt. Wow.
So yeah, bunny beam here for anyone who needs it, obviously. And yeah, I guess that's Gauntlet. I don't know if you guys include Lambo 2 in Gauntlet, but hopefully that helped for that. Oh man, it must be a bug with your version, dude. It works for me every time. Always clip right into Scrivo's house. Alright, I'm going to take a quick bio break, but my cohorts here will be holding it down, so I'll be right back, and hopefully you guys will have some more questions for us.
Does anyone have questions about hard things? Since Greenham isn't taking questions about hard things.
I have one, Josh.
Is this going? Is this? If this is a pun, I'm leaving.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was talking about hard things, but no.
Oh. So you were making a double entendre.
Yes.
Wow. While you have kids in the background, you're making this dirty.
They
joke.
can only hear one half of the conversation, so to them it's a single entendre. Scudge, the inputs are that you just press A.
No, they're actually left in A, I do believe.
Well, then it's not just press A.
Well,
Okay,
it
now
was
we're getting to the-
erroneously named.
Now we're getting to the real questions here. Ooh, I know where you can save one frame now.
The review
This is
of
gonna
the
make
hammer jump.
Scrivo incredibly happy.
There's no real good reason for us to cover the hammer jump here, strictly because it's been covered much better by Blunt Bunny. So check out those.
Blunt's tutorial is really good.
I
I
think
know we're not going over this room.
I think you need to do the triple pump to get the optimal time.
I mean, you don't have to actually. There's a 435 with 2 pumps, dude. Alright, yeah, if you have like a specific question about the hammer jump or anything, we can totally answer that. But if you're asking like, teach me the hammer jump, Blunt Bunny is definitely the person to do that in that video. But yeah, if you're like struggling with something in particular about it or whatever, you know, we can definitely answer those sorts of questions. My understanding, Scudge, there are multiple rooms that are now referred to as the Michael Jackson room, and there's one of them that I just don't understand. There's one that I really do understand.
One of them is a really old oddity joke that very few people are even familiar with anymore.
Yeah.
The other one actually makes sense.
Good old floor 2.
Keyguards and escape.
There you go. There's
We could
Michael
do
Jackson. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you catch one of the mimics on the pegs when they come up, they will start moonwalking. So
Right.
it doesn't really come up in NMG much though. So
Yeah, true. Okay, first key guard. Super easy, consistent setup. Hold upright as you're coming into the room. As soon as Link faces up, charge your sword. So definitely be holding upright as you come into the room. And then charge your sword as soon as you see him face up. And then your movement after that is not really like, there's not one set pattern that you necessarily have to follow. Like, there are a bunch of different ways to get it done. But optimally, you want to knock him towards the door like that. With this safe and easy strat. This is by no means the most optimal way to do it. There are ways to get it frames faster, but even easier, well, maybe not easier, but just slash him 3 times is one way to do it. Don't actually get hit by him. Poke him on the last one. And it's really not that much slower. He's just aggroing super fast right now. Sometimes if he's slow, you can get 3 good ones in before he even does anything. But yeah, the in my opinion, the most consistent and easiest setup for the quick kill is that one, where you're facing up. Second key guard. Second key guard, you want to slash as soon as you get into the room. And then you want to hold down right until you get just below the statue there. And then you're going to poke him. And then you're going to release your spin. There's a few different visual cues you can potentially look for. I think probably the easiest one is Link's hat in the statue itself. You want Link to be like a little bit, like pretty much halfway past that, it looks like. And then that's when you release your spin to finish off the kill.
it actually varies.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because the soldiers in this game, they charge at you at different speeds, just based on, you know, the frame timer of the game, I guess.
Yeah. So if he does like stay up against the wall, sometimes you won't actually hit him with your spin unless you just walk way into him. But if you walk way into him, then by that point you've most likely dropped your sword charge, so you're not actually going to release it.
You just want to be, I feel like you just want to be mostly past the statue to be consistent across all the soldiers' patterns.
Yeah.
But
go as far past the statue as you feel you can comfortably go and still release your spin.
if you get a really good frame roll, you can just about release in line with the statue.
Yeah.
But that, you know, in a real run, you're not going to be able to, like, oh, I have this pattern, I should do this.
Yeah, those are those 2 key guards.
But it's important to know stuff like that if you're practicing with save states, because the save state will not reset any sort of frame timer type RNG. like cannonballs or the way soldiers aggro or whatever.
What?
Just have some background vocal stylings for your enjoyment. Fast flute menus.
I believe that Super Scudge might be enjoying this a bit too much. Or not enough.
No, I appreciate the amount he's enjoying it. What about the ball and chain guard? Okay, well.
The ball and chain guard.
F that guy.
F that guy indeed.
He doesn't even get boss music.
Well, sometimes he
Right,
does.
A cool thing about the ball and chain guard though is if your slashing is off tempo for whatever reason, you can actually hold your sword out, and then the poke will do just as much as a slash. So if you clank, you obviously have to re-slash, but yeah, there's also that strat too.
The strats
But if
using
you,
the pot actually aren't that slow at all. They're
The
like-
easiest one with one pot. It's just one pot, 4 slashes. I swear it's easy.
You have to always boom the green guard for the one pot, or
Yeah.
else the green guard will show up mid-fight.
This is only like 35 frames slower, maybe. So
Yeah. That was a decent one.
you can get 255 big keys with this strategy.
Middle, Jake.
Yeah, middle. Apparently, though, I was looking at that strat that Scotch posted the other day. I meant to actually, like, try it out a little bit. But if you do grab the right pot, you can potentially aggro ball and chain guard sooner. They'll be actually closer over to you, but I haven't messed with it at all. But this is just the fast, or the easiest, most consistent way. Why do I keep messing this up, though? What am I doing wrong, guys? Help.
I think you want to kind of move upright between some of those slashes, I thought. Because he seems to be going above.
You're moving pretty far down with the pot as well. You don't have to move so far down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it's better to... You want to be at the coordinate where the pot hits him, and then move down after you've thrown the pot. Because
Okay.
walking with
That
the
makes
pot
sense,
is
yeah.
slow.
With the strat that I was doing before, which I'll also show you, it's better to do this. For the poke
Also-
spin strat, anyway. It's better to walk down there.
Also, if you are not doing the one pot and you're doing the 8 slash, if the green guard goes right, kill him. Because otherwise, if you just boom him, you risk having him show up either during the ball and chain fight or meeting you outside Zelda's cell. And it's not that much slower to kill him. Just slash him, and then you can either re-slash him or you can just poke him as you walk by.
Alright. I'm apparently going to actually have to practice this, because I cannot get it out of my muscle memory to not walk down first with the pot, because I was doing that with the poke spin for so long.
There's also some weird RNG on the ball and chain guard himself. Like he will attack you slightly differently. I think there's like a... I don't want to say the wrong thing. Is it a 16 frame variance in how he does it? Or maybe it's more than that.
Like his
Scotch
actual
I believe it-
know.
attack
I believe
start
it's
up.
32 frames.
32. Okay, yeah. That's what most of them are. Most of the frame rules. But yeah.
Can't do this strat.
Or is it 30 frames, Scudge?
But like, that's especially important with 8 slash, because sometimes you'll be approaching him and notice he'll swing his ball and chain like a little earlier than normal. You'll be like, what the heck? But yeah, that's what's happening.
Nice boom throw. Definitely the wrong person to be demonstrating anything about ball and chain, obviously.
I think the most important thing is don't reset because you had a bad ball and chain guard. Just don't. Just don't.
Unless you die to him, maybe. Then feel free. But yeah.
Have we covered Ganon yet? No. What do you want to know about Ganon?
To quote Pincus, the time you lose an escape in Eastern are just raindrops in the massive pools of time you're losing.
Yeah. Like
throughout the full run.
It felt wrong just even trying to go over that at all. Clear how little time I spent with it. Alright. So the next question. I wanted to show really easy, consistent strat in this room. Out of here. I don't want you. Part of my real menu. Alright, so a lot of people do the cane dash strat here, but this strat I find to be much more consistent, a whole lot easier. You get to grab a bomb, which means you can skip the one at the front of TRock. Slightly faster, but I feel like this is just so much more consistent than anything involving an item dash. Oh yeah, Mire bombs actually was one thing I was going to go over. So let's say you get to the bombable wall and you accidentally throw the bomb in the wrong direction, whatever, you just get to it and you don't actually have bombs. Many ways for it to go wrong, but potentially what you can do, one thing is backtracking there and killing this Stalfos over here, which may potentially drop a bomb, but it has to be at the right spot in the prize pack, obviously. But the way to actually guarantee yourself getting bomb drop would be to kill the slugs. So is it better to actually just mirror out and go straight to the slugs, or is it better to backtrack?
That's a good question. How many rooms back did you have to go?
Because, well, it sucks having to go through Mire 2 again.
Yeah, with low magic especially and no health.
I feel like it's just better to come back. Let's see. It's even the best way back to plugs. Oops. Yeah. Guess you could. This is good because I don't actually be sure this is the best way. Oops. Yeah, that's a way you could backtrack to get to these slugs here, which 100% guaranteed will always drop at least a bomb for you. Just don't kill them with a dash, because that changes the drop rate to 0 and nothing will happen, so make sure you kill them with a slash. But that's how you can get bombs for Mire, if you need them.
And you saw how painstaking that process is. So
yeah, so be careful.
try not to run out of bombs in Mire. So
if you do get to Swamp and find that you have a shortage of bombs, there are a few good spots where you can pick them up. Yeah, that's the only thing about that, is that in order to actually get out of that room, you have to kill all the slugs. So you would, and then you'd still have to. Well, I guess then you could just take the top left door in the main hub there to get back. But yeah, that's just a really bad backtrack to have to make. So be ultra careful. All right, so you're in swamp. You have 0 bombs. If you're doing Tempered Sword route, you want to have 2 bombs and 20 arrows leaving swamp. So you need to pick up at least 2 bombs in here. And the first pickup you can do is in this room right here. The easiest way to do it is just pause the hammer right here. Go faster than that. Hammer this pot, pick up this pot, grab the key, and you've got your bomb. There's a fancy like Hammerdash thing you can do here. It's kind of RNG dependent anyway, like based on what the water tech type is doing. So you may have to like actually get him out of your way before doing the Hammerdash. So it's always just, in my opinion, to do this.
I like to dash down from the stairs and then
start another dash after
move
that.
over, yeah, and hammer dash.
Interesting. Yeah, it is pretty long distance, isn't it? Oh shit. Just hard. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. There's one bomb. An easy bomb. Try that hard for. And the other bomb. Refill room. By the way, if you don't know, hook dash to this statue allows you to pick this pot up by just hitting A once. Otherwise you have to tap it twice or like kind of wiggle around and try to tap it. Also, if you push this statue into the wall, you can just hit down and hook to this spot here. Arrows are here. Definitely grab these if you have less than 20. Ooh, that's an excellent question, Jet. I will show. I'll show you where this last bomb is, and then I will show you the strat for those Keypot trenches. The answer may surprise you. Okay, so this is the refill room. The bomb is in the bottom right pot here, and arrows are in the top right pot. So there's another bomb if you need it, and arrows are right here if you need them. And there's hearts over here too, obviously, if you need those. That's good. So about these tiny hallways.
The Keypot trenches.
It is the year 2018.
And in the year 2018,
We walk to these.
you
So-
walk, you hammer, you dash.
The thing with these rooms is that you have to be really, really good at both starting your dash quickly and also canceling them really, really well in order to be any faster at all than just walking to it, hammering, hitting A, and dashing it. So, some little quirks about this. If you rub up against the pot, you're always fine to just hammer, hit A, and dash out, and you will always grab the key. However, if you hammer a little bit short, sometimes you won't actually grab the key. So just to be safe, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, when you hammer it, always hit up and A first to start your dash to make sure you grab that key. Unless you know for a fact that you've like absolutely ran into the pot. That will just make sure that you grab the key every single time.
The reason hammer dashing is bad, in case you're wondering, the game will never allow you to use items in doorways. So you have to walk completely out of the doorway before the game will allow you to use the hammer. And so that cuts out some valuable space. Like, this dash is clearly not worth much.
Yeah.
You can tell just by the tile distance between you and the Keypot. So cutting out that distance is very counterproductive.
So for that question, it depends on how you're moving either to or through that pot. If you're moving through it, my understanding is that generally it's better to pick it up and throw it. But if it's just one that you're walking to and then immediately going away from, it's better to hammer. But it's not 100% true for me personally, like in every single screen. So it's just one of those things where I encourage you to time it for yourself and see what the difference is. But in general, yeah, if you don't have to walk through the pot, it's better to hammer. The one exception to that I can think of off the top of my head is the Thieves Town hallway after the big key door. I can never get hammering that pot any faster. Yeah, the skull pots, I mean, the timings are very similar. But I think throwing in that case is still faster. But I don't know for sure.
The skull pots and ice before Kholdstare, you want to pick them up. Like in the room right before, you want to pick them up. In the block room, that can be more complicated, I guess.
Yeah, Scudge actually, that's a really good point as well. Like, since you're hammering, you only have the cooldown of that item usage, so you can start your dash again faster, whereas if you pick it up, you have to throw it again and start it down.
Exactly right.
Yo, thanks, Scrivo. Appreciate you hanging out and answering questions, dude. Have a good one, man. Yeah, please walk to every single one of these.
Oh, we got to the part where we tell them to stop hammer dashing everywhere?
Yep. That's
Nice.
actually the next thing we should probably talk about, since we're here in Swamp anyway. In my opinion, and this is backed up somewhat by frame science, but there's really only one hammer dash you should even do in the entire Swamp segment, and that's the one right before the big key. Even in the overworld, I would not recommend doing that one. It's just not worth it. But this room that you go through like 3 or 4 times is the room where everyone tends to do all their hammer dashing where they probably shouldn't. Just because it's not that, you know, you're bad at hammer dashing or anything like that. It's just because there's so many cases where the RNG is just going to screw you and you're not going to be able to deal with it properly. So on average, it's just better to not hammer dash these rooms at all. So the first time you go through this room, you want to end up killing 2 enemies with this strat where you just dash across the top. Here's the one RNG that really sucks, is where the Stalfos goes up like that. But usually I just kill him anyway, because what you're doing is you're clearing out this room for later, so you have less stuff to deal with when you're coming back through it. So
If you don't kill that Stalfos, a lot of times you can throw that pot at him and not have to spend the extra time.
Yeah, that's a
like,
good point too.
yeah.
Say you just throw the pot up at him like that. Ooh.
You're learning things, Green Hand.
This is great for me too. It's not just for you guys. Yeah, that fire snake he's a jerk for sure. Yeah, please do not hammer dash the first time through here. And as we've already learned, these Keypots. Now coming through here, going back through here, I should say. We do this one. Dang, that pot throw is so good. coming back through here, what you want to do is hug this rail over here on the left. And then all you're going to do is walk up to this pot, turn right, and dash. I think it's pretty important that you both stay up against the rail and also hit the pot before turning right. Otherwise, the shooter that's here in the middle can potentially hit you out of your dash. I'm not sure if that's all the case for like every position where you're off the wall, but what I found to be most consistent is this spot right here. Sometimes you will pick up that pot. Most of the time it just happens from trying to go too fast. It's a good problem to have. Yeah, sometimes if you're too low or just in a specific starting spot, get shot out of it. So don't hammer dash the second time through that room. Never forget the Scrivo switch. Alright, so next time through this room, you want to dash here. You want to cancel your dash at this second pot right here with down left. You're just going to walk to this pot, pick it up, throw it, and you're good to go. And this really doesn't lose much time at all to hammer dash. Especially considering the fact that a lot of times if you try to go for this hammer dash, this guy right here is going to screw you. It's just not worth it, you know? It's about the risk-reward equation, and a lot of this game is about making appropriate decisions for your skill level based on, you know, how comfortable you feel with the strat and what safeties you have on you at the time. But this is one of those things that I just think pretty much every level of runner should do. I mean, Josh has a 125 and he doesn't hammer dash any of these. Seems pretty good to me. But the one that I will allow you, this one right before the big key, because it makes sense. And it's really slow to actually just walk around these spots. And there's really no risk to it because there's no RNG involved or any enemies to hit you out of it or anything, so gotta go back through that room one more time. Would zombies before big key. How did you know that was my least favorite room in the game? So coming back through this room, you're going to do the same thing as you did as when you walked out of the Keypot trench. You're just picking up this pot, plugging the rail, walking up to the pot, and dashing out. No hammer dashes required. Just a handful of frames difference. So. Okay. Skullwood's Mummy Room. I actually want to link you to... Blunt went over this room, I believe, and has really good tips on it. But I will show you what I can. Let me step. Alright, dude. Thanks for hanging out, Josh. Have a good one, dude. Well, that can probably explain it a lot better than I can, especially considering the fact that I am quite bad at this room. So, the general idea, get rid of that pot as fast as you can. Walk down to this tile right here. Grab the statue from the right side. Pull it down as little as possible. And wiggle as you're pushing statue left. Walking down to this tile right here is just something that Blunt recommends. I think it helps with the movement of the mummies themselves. Helps manipulate them a little better. Oops. So normally when you're pushing a statue, you just kill these guys. Alright, so normally when you're pushing a statue, look how slowly Link is moving. Now if you're just holding a diagonal, you don't even have to be like spamming back and forth at all. Nice. All you have to do is just be holding any diagonal whatsoever, and Link is going to move much faster than he would be if you were just pushing it normally like this. I mean, you can see the difference. Pretty visible. Now, if you don't kill this jelly with your slash, just throw that pot at him. Oops. That's a nice little bug in the game where you don't grab the statue. So if you get hit like that, sometimes it's a better idea to come on this side of the statue. Pull it the rest of the way. But if they just decide to be really aggressive, really not a lot you can do. So. Yeah, pushing that statue while holding diagonals is pretty important since you really need to like get out of the way pretty quickly from the mummies, or else they'll heck you up.
In terms of the mummies being aggressive, especially that one going straight up and then turning left towards you, I don't know if you mentioned this, but there is a certain pixel, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a certain pixel, if you want to mess around, that the mummy actually... You can walk above the statue, like between the statue and the barrier, but the mummy can't. So it's good to know like that window of pixels where if the statue is on them, the mummies won't actually be able to hit you while you're trying to pull the statue back.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I never really played around with that to see exactly what the tolerance was, but...
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Blunt Bunny mentions it.
Yeah,
that knowledge,
definitely give that video a watch because he'll probably be able to give you more tips than I can. I mean, the point of this Q&A is not necessarily to show you that I am the best at every single strat and I know everything about everything. It's to disseminate all of the knowledge and resources that are out there that people may not be aware of already and get those into people's hands. And if I can facilitate that in any way, and then maybe actually somewhat demonstrate it, then all the better. While we're here in Skullwoods, let's look at an easy Mummy Hellway strat that I really like, which is, I think, it's fairly easy for almost every level of runner to do. But it's especially good for that level of runner where you're just getting to the point where you're like, okay, I really don't need to, kill every single one of these mummies in this room because I don't like it and it's slow, right? So, easy strat, courtesy of Joe D'Amelio. That. And it really is not too terribly much slower than the absolutely optimal strat, which is super hard. I would not recommend it. The only somewhat difficult part about this strat is this part right here, which is picking up the pot and throwing it at this mummy up here. That's really the only difficult part of this strat, in my opinion. And you can even fancier with it if you want. Do an item dash out. At 828, I can't do this strat. farther. See just how difficult this strat. I haven't done it in a long time, but
Just for reference, like one of the fastest times I've ever seen or heard of in this room is a 7:35. So
yeah. So that's only a
that's
second.
less than a second slower. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bad version of it, and that's only half a second, so yeah. NMG does mean no major glitches, which means just any glitch that can potentially skip a large portion of the game or sequence break it significantly to where it would really affect the length of the run, so a certain rule set that we follow for speedrun. But anyway, this strat is just, it's really good. It's really easy, you have so much more time to throw the pot at the mummy. And I've gotten this strat, I think I've gotten 8 flat with this strat, actually. What's that? Any other questions, just throw them out there. Feel free. I've definitely got more stuff to go over, but I would rather cover what people specifically want to see. So. If no one has anything, I'm going to go. Oh, no. Here's another good one that I try to spread the word of far and wide. Mimics 1 is definitely one of the hardest rooms in the game to fully optimize. And it's one that I see a lot of newer runners struggling with. I see a lot of people trying the 3. Yeah. I see a lot of people trying the 3/ strat, which, you know, isn't bad. If that's what you want to try, go for it. But try this alternative if you are struggling with this room and see if it's any better for you. GT Bombable floor, sweet. So these mimics. So you walk all the way to the wall. You want to actually be like below this rail right here when you turn. You want to walk all the way to the wall here, turn down and slash. Slash like soon as you turn down too. Don't walk down a little bit and then slash. Make sure you slash as soon as you at this point. Now what I look for here is for Link's shadow to be on this line of tiles, like the line of smaller tiles that's in between the larger ones. Moving down is important. So right here is when I start moving left. And then you're going to fire 2 arrows at that guy, and you're going to end up releasing your spin. Okay. Or if you're fast enough, you just drop your sword immediately after firing your arrows. You won't release a spin. But if you do, it's not really that big of a deal. But it is possible to go fast enough to where you don't. We're going to re-slash after this, and then move left again so that you're moving against that wall to move this mimic into place. And fire 2 more arrows and you're done. That's that. I really love that Mimics 1 strat. That's also courtesy of Joe D'Amelia. That's where I picked it up. So. Okay, Yeah, let's dude, we'll get to GT Bombable Floor, but I feel like the Skullwoods thing is much faster and easier to explain, so I'll do that real quick, and then we'll go to GT Bombable Floor. Oh crap, I should have done the other Mimics room. Alright, my strat for this is hold right, slash twice. Okay. Holding right this entire time while you're slashing. As soon as you get the Mimic to the right, like horizontal position that you want, start holding down right to get him into position, and then stop moving when you can actually shoot him. Okay, re-slash, move up, shoot 2 arrows in that guy when he's blocked. Ooh, 555. I'll move too fast though. I believe this is also Blunt's RTA strat. It is obviously not the most optimal strat, but I consider this to be a little better than that, sort of. Because in this one you have to dodge the laser, I think. Or just actually go fast. But yeah, that's my strat for Mimics too. It does have its own pitfalls, but as long as you hit your checkpoints, it's fine. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, that's the simplest strat I can show you for Mimics too. Fortunately, like, the Mimics rooms are just, they're really complex, and they're hard to get down consistently, so kind of hard to explain like an easy strat for it, because one doesn't really exist. But for this room, an easy strat does exist. So if you find like you're grabbing this right pot and you're like falling into this pit a lot, an easy way to never deal with that is grab this left pot and just hold it upright. And that's going to get you to that point every single time, and you'll be able to walk past. I've actually switched to doing this in my runs because I have just fallen here so many times. It's really easy to both just like fall in this hole or also hit this star switch obviously and just fall into the next one. So safe and easy, pick up the left pot, good to go. Okay. Bombable floor. So the most important thing about this is planting the bomb as soon as you possibly can. That's really the key to not getting hit by the anti-fairy. Otherwise the bomb's not going to go off at the right time and you'll get hit by him. So plant it a lot sooner than you think, because you can actually walk past the bomb a little bit. Like not fully past it or anything, but to where Link's like sprite is a little bit past it and you can still pick it up. Last load last preset? Shortcut? I never can remember. Select B. There we go. We got it. Sweet. So I usually hold diagonal into this room, and then plant as soon as possible, and end up walking like just a little bit more, and then picking it up. Get here. You can throw the bomb like pretty much whenever, but it's best to just throw it right when you get there. Wait for a little bit. You can't pick up the pot again immediately, otherwise the bomb's gonna go into the wall. Throw it, wait, throw it. You want to throw it down, not right. He tips. And that'll lock the anti-fairy over there every time. As long as your bomb placement is good. So like if I place it late here and actually throw it into the pit. Sometimes it'll still work, but a lot of times you're gonna end up getting screwed. Yeah, dude. And then I don't know if you were here when we were explaining it earlier, but if for some reason you need to get more arrows when you're in this room, do the same strat. And grab these arrows right here, and then you can just dash down. You want to pick up that pot though, obviously. If you need the 10 chests, plant late. Sometimes you're just going to get hit by the Antifairy. It's going to happen. Yeah, dude, same. Yeah, that's the way to get an easier, slightly easier way to grab the 10 arrow chest. Because the mic strat is very difficult. Very, very cool, but very difficult. Yeah, those are all the backup arrows here. All right.
Another room that I was just thinking about it because there's a bomb involved that I've seen people struggle with in Ganon's Tower is 2 rooms before Moldorm, where you have to throw the bomb onto the conveyor.
Oh, yeah.
There's the big and the little spike.
Yeah, what you got for that?
So the only thing, it's just a small bit of advice, is when you are holding the bomb, you only have to turn down for pretty much a frame, and you can throw the bomb at that point. You don't have to worry about walking down a specific amount. You literally just pick it up, turn down, and throw it instantly, and it'll be fine. Make sure you don't move too much, because I always see people overthrowing it, so it ends up on the wall instead of the conveyor. And yeah, that was just a little thing that I noticed a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's just turn down, instantly hit A. Yeah, exactly like that you just showed. So turn down, instantly hit A, and you won't ever have a problem with that.
Yeah, if you get it stuck in the wall, you've definitely gone down too far. That's a really good one.
Yeah, so I just, whenever I see new people playing, I always see that. They always walk down almost so that they're touching the conveyor with Link himself, and they always throw it onto the wall. So just tap down very, very, very lightly.
Yep.
Tap A, you're fine.
For sure. What's the best way to walk through the story? You mean the hole, right? There's a few different ways to do it. There's one actually where you intentionally take damage and go through it. I don't actually do it the fastest way. Yeah, without the D-boost dash, this is just what I do. I throw this down, I walk down here, walk back up, walk over next to him again, and just do the...
I do something slightly different. I'll try to explain. So yeah, I walk in, plant the bomb, pick it up, turn down quickly, and throw. And then I get on the conveyor so that the big spike comes around. And then when I see the bomb start to blink, I'll actually charge up a dash and bonk against the top wall, so that during the explosion, I'll be in my bonk iframes, but then I'll be placed right next to the wall. So I know it's a little more complicated, but that's something I do too.
Should have to... Oh, dude, that's kind of fun actually. I like that actually. It's fun. I don't know if it's just fun because it's like really something different, but that's cool. Oh, walk all the way to the sun. Better, huh?
Watching you misthrow the bomb is my favorite part.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, the dashing against the top wall is definitely something that needs to be practiced, but it's cool because it kind of uses the iframes to put you in position during the explosion, and then you just walk right through.
6. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm learning things too. Cool. All right. Somebody asked about blind, and I'm sorry that it got kind of lost in the shuffle there, but Yep. So blind is a scripted fight. I can show you just kind of my positions and my approach to the script because there's a little bit of leeway in the script. It's just kind of like you're trying to hit specific marks, like points in space and time where you have to be for this to work. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The conveyor naturally carries you. So, one kind of new thing is walk into this room, don't dash into it. So, a problem that you may run into is when you're trying to poke blind, you end up releasing a spin. And so what that is usually caused by is letting go of B too early after you poke him, which is going to... you're going to have a bad time. Don't do that. So what I like to do here is actually charge up a spin and release it during or before this text box. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, Dode, I did talk about that at the beginning of the stream, but after I show this blind fight, I can definitely show the refight. But the basic strat, all I can tell you is just to... What I do is hug the bottom wall and just throw beams up at him and move left to right and dodge the fireballs. So yeah, there's 3 pretty convenient hard pots along the way there. Alright, so back to the blind fight. So I release this spin here, just to make sure that I'm not going to release one on the next one. So slash again, move down, slash again. You don't have to move at all. Slash again to poke. Wait the rest of this. This is bad already, but it's... Let me show you that a few more times. With these is a little more broken down than that. Alright, so after this phase, I move to these tiles right here, like they make a little triangle, and I put myself in between, in the middle of like where those 2 triangles meet at the top of the wall here, and then just face left with my sword held out. And then when the head comes back up, I just do a quick down up, and then walk a little left to poke blind's head, and then slash down again, poke him, and then slash down and move up and left around him to poke him for the 3rd time. Let's see if I can do that. That's the 2nd phase right there. So, beginning of the 3rd phase, that would have actually connected. The 2nd phase would have been over. So I move to the top left of the light here. Once the heads start spinning around, I move over to the right. I needed to wait like a little bit. It's hard to do it with the pauses in between because it gets you like so out of rhythm and off the script. The left side of the light, right side of the light. And now when these heads come together, or about when they're going to meet, is when I start a dash to the left here, the bonk, which is going to set you up perfectly to finish off the 3rd phase, because all you have to do is walk straight right, your sword charged, poke him again, walk straight left, walk up to the wall, face down, poke him again, walk to the right, face left, slash him, and finish him off. Yeah, for sure. That's usually the biggest culprit. If you're releasing spins, you're not holding B long enough. So just hold it way longer than you think you have to hold it. It's not going to do any harm whatsoever to continue holding it. So yeah, it's definitely a solid tip. So Q for this dash, like I said, is when the heads are about to come together. And then walk straight right, wall, and left. So I'll try to do that a few more times in succession. Yeah, you can see, like, from the input display just how long I'm holding B, just to make sure I don't really... Pretty much you can just wait until right before you know you need to re-slash. Oops.
Did you mention which beams actually hone on you, like on your position, and which beams just go whatever the head is facing?
I mean, no, because I mean that really, it's a good thing to know like when you get off script, right? Like to know that, what is it? The first shot and the fourth shot are going to actually track Link.
The first shot and then every fourth shot are gonna track.
But the other fireballs are just completely random. Those are the two that are going to come towards Link are really the only ones you need to worry about.
Might be every fifth. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing to note for people who are new to like the scripted idea of the fight, just because you know that when the head starts to move and starts shooting balls at you, either one, only the first one is gonna hone at you, and then the fourth or fifth one is going to, so those are the only two you have to worry about dodging. A lot of people get flustered because there's so many lasers flying around on the screen. But yeah, it's just the first and every fourth or fifth that you need to worry about dodging from each head.
Yeah. Alright, so let's say you've died to blind. You gotta come back through these. Alright, so you're gonna be down to the 5 hearts if you restart here, and you'll have 8, assuming you grab sync heart. So you need to grab 3 heart parts. So first one you want to grab is over here. And the second one is in this room over here. That's sad. Yeah. And the very last one, right here.
Nice big key, dude.
Thanks, man. So the blind refight with beams. Should I actually have to die? Oh. No, don't. I know these things. Nice. Don't even have to move for the first 3. That's for sure. I know that much. And even if something goes wrong, you do end up getting hit. Really not that big of a deal to finish off the fight, so. But yeah, this is my strat. I just stay down here, shoot beams at him, dodge things.
So, talking about the ice rod, or yeah, the ice rod.
Yeah.
When you want to get it, most people get it after Swamp because you want to go into Mire with full hearts, and there's already overworld movement because you need to get the medallion to get into Mire. So people will get it because since they want to have full hearts, they can farm the crabs that are right outside the Ice Rod Cave if they happen to get hit on Death Mountain. And they also like to do it before Mire because then it's less movement before Turtle Rock, so it's less chance that you'll take damage before Turtle Rock, and Turtle Rock can be a little bit scary for certain people, especially if you don't do the fairy manipulation. So that's the reason people started changing the route to doing it outside or before Mire instead of after.
Yeah, the time difference is really pretty much negligible as to when you grab those items. There are a few like small differences with menus and doing stair climbing and stuff, but it's really a really small insignificant difference. So if you want to be safe about it and you're not comfortable with Mire, like if you don't have powder especially, I would advise getting Ether and Ice Rod before Swamp, just to guarantee you have full hearts for Mire. If you have powder, don't worry about it, because you're going to be able to powder your way through the majority of Mire anyway. Yep, exactly what Dode said. That is the optimal route. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of safety, if you're going for safety, then it's probably best to do it before Swamp, because Swamp is, at least in terms of the last few dungeons in the game, where you're least likely to die, because nothing really does that much damage to you. So if you take damage during overworld movement, it's not as big of a deal during the dungeon versus Turtle Rock or Mire.
Definitely not that big of a deal. Best strat for leaving Pyramid after Ago. Clearly what you want to do. Make sure you go around and you see all the sights, see everything the Pyramid has to offer, and deal with the horrible lag because you have the wrong sprite. How do you fix? Hearing will not fix it, I think.
Fix what?
The Blacksword thing.
Oh, I don't know how to fix that, and I hate it.
My sister tried to boom one of the monsters in lockdown early. There you go. Nice.
Dude, brah, sick.
Hey, Moth. What's going on, man?
Oh,
What's going on, dude?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dang, that's a really good point. Dude.
Have you not ever done that?
Nope.
Wow!
Thanks, dude. Never even thought about it. Like, I thought about the one before, I think maybe even someone pointed out the one before fake flippers, but, slow ham, yeah, no kidding, dude.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't even save that much time, but I'm just surprised you.
I'm
I've never-
actually surprised, too. Oh, so you have to walk a little bit farther down the stairs now, too, huh?
Lutsky.
Dang, dude. Alright, well, maybe I'll teach you something on this screen, then. Coming into this screen, make sure you're holding down right.
Why right?
Don't ask me why. It saves you frames though. I don't know the science behind it. Something slopes. But going around this corner like that apparently is just like going right. What? Have I been misled? Is it just slope dashes being weird? Or this is. Yeah, subpixel. 321, there we go. Oh, yeah, something else we can talk about. So the backup for the fairy manipulation for TRock for the prize pack, if you don't have sword beams for this room.
This will be good for me because I always just dash back and forth in the room if I don't have sword beams.
See, that's why I was actually just going to show that, because it's a really, really easy backup, and it's so much easier than the other one. Yeah, dude, Cosmic Brain's where it's at. I also really enjoy having Christos emotes to combo with it. Alright, so no sword beams, so you can't do the dash kill strat, the normal one in this room, right? The easiest thing to do, you can just walk a little bit down right. You even have to walk out of the door, even? Maybe you do have to
I don't walk out of the door, I just dash. I don't necessarily hit them on each one of them on every dash, but I just dash until they die.
Yeah. So this is the quote-unquote easy way to do it. Still kill them with a dash. It just looks
That's
so
my
good.
favorite thing.
I'm a speedrunner, look at me go! It's just like, if you saw that, you would be like, this person has no idea what they're doing with the video game.
Well, I mean, I don't, so that's fair.
Yeah, Alcatraz, so the problem with that is that if you spin them, what we're trying to do here is not kill them by slashing, because the way prize packs work in this game, all the enemies are grouped together in certain packs, and they drop items in a very particular order. So if you end up killing them with a slash, you can unintentionally advance this prize pack, which contains a heart and a fairy immediately after it. And you get those right here as opposed to later on in the game in Turtle Rock, where they're much, much more useful. That's why we try to kill these guys with dashes to set the drop rate to 0 so that they don't drop anything. Let me see if I can do the other one. There you go. Easy peasy every time. It's so strange though, because these guys, I mean, they work on frame rules as to when they aggro on you. I'm pretty sure, like how quickly they detect you. So
Oh, that's a fast strat. I should try that.
you can get some really weird like RNGs to deal with, where these strats are difficult. That's another backup for it. Yeah, exactly. One thing though that you can potentially do, and it may not necessarily be the best idea in the world, but if you do end up killing these guys with a slash for whatever reason and you get the drop, not too bad of an idea to kill just every single mini Helma you see along the way, which I think there are 2 additional ones or something you can kill, in order to try and wrap the prize pack all the way back around. The only problem with that is that you also kind of want the magic drop that's in that pack, and if you end up going past that, it can be bad, but there are ways around that in Turtle Rock. So.
Oh, Pokeys, dude. You up for that?
Pokeys. No. Let's definitely go. I mean, Fire Rod is definitely... There's nothing wrong with using Fire Rod. ACM still does it. He is a very, very high level runner, so there's nothing wrong with using Fire Rod if it's consistent. But, that said, you absolutely want to switch. Yes, Blunt, I'm not even going to try to explain Pokey 2, because Blunt covers every single RNG you could possibly want for that. Is it in the US version? The prize packs? Yeah, the prize packs are on every single version, pretty sure. You can see the packs themselves there in that image if you want. Okay, so Poke 1, 2 RNGs are pretty much exactly the same in terms of dealing with them. So I won't go over those as much. Really, the hardest one you're going to deal with is the top left one and the bottom left one. So hopefully I can get those. We got an easy one. This one is really easy. For every single one of these though, it always starts out with you slashing this crystal switch and continuing to hold your sword out. Well, that RNG is super easy. And the other RNG where he's over on this side, you pretty much handle exactly the same. Those really aren't bad at all. The RNG is going to be stuck on. Yeah, for Poke Zero, that one really isn't the worst to deal with. Like Dode said, just the biggest thing about it is not. It's funny, but don't poke a Pokey. You want to release it to the left or the right of it to ensure that it's only your spin that's connecting with it, and you're not poking it prematurely or anything. And also make sure, as you're releasing your spin, don't try to move too quickly out of it. Otherwise, you're only going to end up killing part of the Pokeys. That pretty much goes for every single Pokey that you encounter though. Alright, so this RNG, you do that.
Wait. If you try to move after a spin too quickly, then it can mess up the kill?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're in the middle of your spin and you're like holding diagonal or something, I think sometimes you can move out of it and not kill them.
It's just crazy talk. That's cool to know. Maybe that's why I randomly don't kill Pokeys.
Could be. So for this one, I walk down to about here, walk left, release the spin while I'm on him, wait for the key, start a dash, and you're good to go. Again, just make sure for this one particularly that you're not walking down too far because you're going to end up poking him. Somehow I didn't there. Interesting.
Yeah, make sure you walk. Pretty much you want your sword to be even with the bottom of the blue pegs. Like the very bottom pixel of blue.
That's good too.
Because if you're too high, then you'll hit the switch a bunch of times and then you'll get frustrated. So, yeah, that line of pixels that's the very bottom of the blue pegs is.
Alright, let me try to get the bottom left RNG, and I'll show you the really, really easy version of that. Because the hard version is, you know, hard.
I guess that's why they call it the hard version.
I guess that's why it goes so fast. Dang it, dude.
Good luck getting the right RNG.
Yeah. There is RNG control. I got it. Alright, so for the bottom left here, what I do for the easy strat is I walk down to this line of tiles right here. I walk left a little bit, and back to the right a little bit, and then release the spin. You're always going to get bunnied, don't worry about it. Big deal. What's worse is getting hit by these guys who do 4 hearts of damage, so don't do that. But this is just my easy, consistent way of doing it. You do have to move a little bit down before releasing your spin, but it's pretty much just the left-right. All you're doing is just baiting out the movement of those skulls so that they're not quite as close to you. There's probably much better ways to do this, but this is just the easiest, most consistent thing that I found. a hell of a lot easier than that.
Do you do this in runs?
I go for the DoorDash in runs.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So yeah, those that's Poke 1. You got the video for Poke 2, so, and then with the generic tip that Dode provided about how to kill Pokeys in general. I mean, I can just show you Poke 1. It's really not that much to it. But like you said, just make sure you're killing it directly to the left, right of it. Like over here. I also turned the bot volume off for this. Good luck, my friend. Yeah, if you try to like walk directly into him, you're just gonna poke him. You're gonna have a bad time. Charge up, spin, walk directly left or right. And you're good to go. Alright, we're like 3 hours in. Good stuff, good stuff. Does anyone take... Yeah, that would have been smart, because now I just have to go back through the VOD and timestamp everything. Another thing that I want to make sure and do, which Mutt had actually a really good idea on Twitter that I failed to implement before you suggest it, but I want to try to collect some more questions to have ahead of time and then go over them during the stream. So if you have any questions that you think of offline or whatever, you know, send a message on Twitch, get a hold of me on Discord, whatever you got to do. Buttcord. Send them to me on Twitter, you know, it's all good. And I'll try to compile a list of questions that we can go over for the next stream. I really got deeps.
Buttspot is the greatest invention.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Mutt. We could do that. That's doable. We can do an ask.fm. .fm.
Buttcord.
Really good.
Whew. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
man.
good stuff.
It was my pleasure to do it, for sure. I definitely want to do a few more of these leading up to the tournament. The next one that I have planned right now is going to be Sunday before the weekly. We'll start that one at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And then we'll have, you know, a solid like 2.5 hour sesh, something like that, before the weekly. Hopefully go over a few more things. Hopefully hit some people that either didn't get a chance to catch the stream or whatever, so. Yeah, I guess if no one's got any more questions, we can wrap it up there. I do want to thank all of my helpers that have been hanging around and in and out of voice and chat and everything. So my thanks to Scrivo, Brosick, Emma, Mutsky, Josh RTA, everyone else in chat who was helping out. I definitely appreciate you guys.